Hi, Jason Spengler, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing, and this one is going to be a real treat. There's some cool stuff here. It's not very often that I get a collection from the 1950s, but also a collection where a scout was going to lots of national and even world events during that time period, including several Order of the Arrow conferences based on what I have seen, where he traded for a lot of scouting memorabilia, a lot of Order of the Arrow items. And if you're trading for OA stuff in the 1950s, you were finding some really cool stuff because that's really when lodges started to produce patches, neckerchiefs, memorabilia for their members to wear. And it was kind of, the beginning of that whole trend. So there's some cool stuff in here, but there's also a bit of a problem. And I will open the box and show you that there's a problem. Stick around and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so I grabbed this little guy here. Any of you who are familiar with Scout memorabilia collecting will know this is a sort of famous Bill Price book. And this was a illustrated Lodge Patch handbook. This one is a 1971 printing. And what this kind of did was allowed people who are interested in Scout patch collecting at Order of the Arrow events to see, oops, got a page coming out, to see all the different lodges, okay? So this is 1971. I believe that the first edition of this would have come out in the late 60s. This guy was trading for stuff in the 1950s. There's no internet, there's no resources, there's no checklist. Well, I take that back. You could have had the Wapadingo book in 1952, but I don't have any evidence that this guy had that. He was from New Jersey, and I ended up buying it from a family member. And I'm really, whoa, there's some cool stuff in here. So let's start taking a few things out. So I mentioned New Jersey. Here's his shirt, and he did earn the Silver Beaver. And so on his shirt here, this is a polywool uniform. We have a Scoutmaster's key, but then you can see here the Robert Treat Council in New Jersey. And then another shirt, similar thing, Robert Treat Council. I think this guy was involved quite a while. And then here's another one. And when I first talked to the family member, he mentioned Schiff Scout Reservation. And I said, oh, yeah, that was in New Jersey. And that was the training center for the Boy Scouts. And he mentioned that he'd gone to Schiff. And so, there's the patch here showing that he had gone to Schiff Scout Reservation. And in my mind, when we talked on the phone, I thought, oh, well, maybe this is going to be kind of a Schiff Scout Reservation collection. And then he started sending me pictures of the collection. And I was like, oh my gosh, because this guy went to the 1955 World Scout Jamboree. And then I think he went to some NOACs, like maybe 56, maybe 58. So, that was the chance for him to trade for Order of the Arrow items. So let me pull some things out. I did ask him to put some things in bags, and that is going to come to me to tell you the sad part of this story is that some of these neckerchiefs, and I don't know where along the line, but some of the neckerchiefs had or have mildew on them. So that is very unfortunate. I don't know if I'm going to be able to clean them. I've asked some people. I know I'm going to see someone this weekend who's kind of a master at cleaning old patches and memorabilia, and I'm going to ask him to take some of these and see what he can do with them and see if the mildew will come off. But hopefully that'll work out. But again, some of these in here are the ones probably that have mildew on them. But I'm going to go ahead and break into them because eventually have to mess with them anyway. So. Now, I definitely want to show you guys everything because there's some really cool stuff in this collection. Me being an Order of the Arrow collector at heart. So of course Philmont, and we can see a little bit here. I don't know. That's some stuff that maybe I can work on. But this you can see here. You can see the the damage here and the stain, and I just don't know if that will come out or not. I believe that's Lodge 77, which might have been his home lodge. And so here's Lodge 14, another New Jersey lodge. Again, mildew on that, so not sure. It is what it is. Here's the funny story. Maybe I should have started with this, but I'm a little excited, guys. I apologize. When this guy first reached out to me, he really would just wanted to know at first, was this a collection, worth anything? And the reason why I was asking is because his wife, in her defense, probably seeing things like this and like this, his wife wanted him to throw it away. So it had come to him through his family, and they had decided he was kind of the scout, in the family tree who would end up with this stuff. And so he got this stuff, and his wife wanted to throw it away. And he was kind of, I think hoping that I would kind of disprove his wife. You know how this is in marriages, right? So, the wife tells you to throw it away. You reach out to this guy who offers you a nice amount of money to buy it, and then you can say, "Well, that stuff you told me to throw away. Well, this guy." So I don't know exactly if that was the conversation, but he and I did go back and forth a little bit about it. Kind of funny story. It turns out his wife is actually a Girl Scout Gold Award winner, which is like, not many of those around. That's pretty cool. And they have children. And so there's a little bit of tension there about the Boy Scouts letting girls in, and his wife being a sort of, diehard Girl Scout. So anyways, I'm not sure if that had anything to do with the family dynamics, but this guy was super nice to work with. We texted back and forth about a lot of things, and again, made an offer, and he agreed to ship it to me. So I've got to send him the rest of the money, but I just wanted to open everything up and put eyes on it before I did that. So I don't think he was at 59 World, but that is the one in the Philippines. I'm almost sure he was at the 55 World Jamboree in Canada. So again, this is not good. I mean, I don't know that this will come out. And probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some of these neckerchiefs that maybe are ones that I could sacrifice, if you will, like maybe one that's really common, and kind of work on it myself and see if I can get it to come clean. But I don't know. I don't know how long the mildew has been set in, and I've never tried to knock mildew out. I really have. I almost never get anything in a collection with mildew on it, so I'm just not sure. But again, you can see the time period here: 1956 OA Area 2C Conference, Camp Roosevelt, and then a lot of these are kind of from the Northeast area. But again, it's kind of mind-boggling to me the percentage of neckerchiefs in this collection that are Order of the Arrow neckerchiefs, because normally in a collection, I would get maybe a lot of camp neckerchiefs, camporee neckerchiefs, just standard troop neckerchiefs, things like that. But to literally go through that stack there, and almost all of it is Order of the Arrow neckerchiefs, is just kind of, that's just not, that doesn't happen very often. Um, so again, this guy was doing some major trading. Now this looks a little more, what I run into sometimes, where a stain, where maybe, something had gotten on there, a drink or something was more, or, that's not a sweat stain, that's something else going on. That I have seen before and I have done something with. And so it looks to me like this guy that I bought it from separated these out. These are just the ones that have kind of the normal, I don't know if you call them sweat stains or just, from age, but that's kind of what's going on here. Like, check this one out. That's a really beautiful embroidered one from Lodge 4. Again, this kind of thing, I think I can do something with this white one, even though we've been on the back, it's got that stain as well. But I've had good luck with OA sashes, because almost every OA sash I get is going to have some kind of, yellowing or something going on, and I've used OxyClean to kind of soak those and get those to come out. So we'll see. Might have to do a little experiment. This looks like ink. I don't think, like, somebody drew on it. I don't think I can get that one out. We'll see. This is a 50 National Scout Jamboree. That's the cotton one. And then you can see, in the unboxings, I always try to sort of share some of the history. So you see a little bit of this. Like, this is a staff neckerchief from Pine Hill Scout Reservation, which is in Jersey. So perhaps this guy was on staff in 55. Here's a Shawnee neckerchief again. Needs to be treated and see if I can get it looking a little sharper. Lodge 191. All right. One reason why I had to dig through all these neckerchiefs is I knew there was one in here that I just absolutely wanted to share with you guys, because number one, I have never seen it and didn't know it existed, but I just think it tells a cool story. And it also just, again, makes me think about this guy trading at these events. Like, he was slaying it. He was getting some cool ass stuff, pardon my language. So let me show this to you. And some of you who are memorabilia collectors will kind of know what this is, but let me just kind of back up and tell you. So the Order of the Arrow, obviously the National Honor Organization of the Boy Scouts of America, it existed in foreign countries. Many of you have heard of the Transatlantic Council. That was Black Eagle Lodge, the Far East Council, which actually had multiple lodges. There was a lodge in Guam. There was a lodge in the Philippines. But honestly, kind of very little known, I think, there was a lodge in Mexico. And as far as I know, this would not have been associated with a military base because obviously in the Philippines and Guam, you had military bases like Clark Air Force Base, and that's where that was stationed. But this lodge, I think it's number 446, if I'm not mistaken. You can see the design, and that is the sort of legend of the Aztec legend that has the eagle with the snake, and that's where they founded Tenochtitlan, the capital of the Aztecs, which eventually has become Mexico City. So I have a flap from this lodge in my permanent collection, and now I'm able to add this neckerchief to my permanent collection. I do not think I want to give this one up. I just didn't even know it existed because I don't go down that rabbit hole and collect these. But when I saw this in a picture, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that the lodge in Mexico made a neckerchief. And how in the world did it end up in this collection? That is just so cool. I'm also glad that it's one of those that does not have much damage. There's a little bit, just soiling right there. But honestly, I don't think I'm going to clean this one up. I think I'm just going to leave it just like that. And I just think it's so cool that it's, literally says Mexico. I mean, I just love that. I think it's so cool. 1957, and then Cuyahoga here as well. So if I'm not mistaken, I did ask him to bag up all the ones that kind of had mildew and problems. So I'm just going to push these to the side because those are the ones he bagged up. I'm kind of assuming the rest of them don't have any problems. But again, 1959 staff at Pine Tree Hill, another one here. And then, here's a 1959. So this one was Nippon Jamboree. He was intrigued by this one, and I had to tell him, that was the Boy Scouts of Japan. That's what Nippon is. And this would have been like, I guess, their National Jamboree in 1959. Then here's a 58 staff. And then we also saw another Ranachqua Lodge 4. This is a conclave, which it would have been, all the lodges coming together. Then here's another one for the Area 2C, which must have been his one. And this one was held at Forestburg. This is Twin 10 Mile River Camp, TMR, Lakeside. They had a lot of different camps within the 10 Mile River. And this is a 1958 staff neckerchief that's kind of cool. There are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of staff neckerchiefs from that camp. But then again, look at the trading. This is Catalina Bay, Camp Emerald Bay, Catalina Island, sorry, Crescent Bay Area Council in California. Like, it's crazy all the stuff he came home with. 2C. This one I'm not sure about just because it doesn't have anything on it that tells you what it is, but I'll use Google search and see if I can find that. Then here's another conference one, and then a few more here as well. Again, 1959. And then this one's got a little damage here. This almost looks like, well, I don't really know, but it's got like a darkening there, so that's not great. But again, I mentioned it went to 55. We'll get into the patches here in a minute. Here's a 1955 World Jamboree patch. This one was worn on a uniform, so I'm guessing that would come off of his uniform. And then I mentioned about going to the NOAC. I won't say this is my proof, but here's my evidence, is that this is a Lodge 2 Sanhican delegate neckerchief to that Kansas NOAC, the 43rd anniversary national conference in 1958. So maybe he traded for this at that event, or maybe he got it later. Not clear to me. 1937 Jamboree. This one looks like it's been cut down. These originally were squares, but this one feels lighter, so I think it's a triangle. 53 Jamboree. And then again, I think this is Lodge 110. It's got a really cool felt patch on here and a nice embroidery. Sometimes what you would see is they would sew their lodge emblem on a neckerchief, and then they might do something cool with the piping. And this would have been one that they wore to like a national conference. So it's sort of like an early version of like a delegate neckerchief. And sometimes they would wear that same one to multiple conferences it was just kind of a known thing. So again, 58. And I mentioned that he went to the 55 World Jamboree. So here's just a plain Canadian, and there's another one from Canada. Pine Hill, Lodge 77, District, Scouting in Action. I don't know what that one is. 2C here, 10 Mile River. Again, that's the big New York one. Lodge 71. And then again, here's a conference one. This lodge is from Michigan, Lodge 89. And this lodge is from New Jersey. Another New Jersey one here, a district one, 57 National, 1940 World Jamboree, not sorry, World Jamboree, World's Fair. This was sort of like a scout service corps neckerchief. These are not that rare. I've seen a lot of those. And then this is kind of funny how many times I get these in collections. The 1950 National Scout Jamboree. This is the rayon version, which I'm guessing was the one that the scouts wore, because most of the ones I get of this have all been worn and washed, and they do not hold up very well. So this one's kind of been through the ringer, but that's not anything he would have done. I mentioned that I'm almost sure the guy went to the 55 World Jamboree, so this would have been his neckerchief. This is the BSA contingent neckerchief for that event. And then this one, again, why does he have this? So I did Google this one because I didn't recognize it, but this Lodge 380 neckerchief, which I think is a California lodge, this was like made for, I think, lodge officers or something. There's some kind of special thing in the reference I looked up for that. So like, how did he get that? I mean, this guy was an epic trader. Again, cool stuff here. 1953 Camp Rotary staff. Again, that's his camp. I'm sure he was working at that camp in the 1950s. See this guy here. And then what is this guy? Convention staff, 1957. Okay, never seen that before. Convention staff, 1957. I'm gonna have to ask some people about that one. I don't know. Normally, as we saw, it's normally called a conference, the National OA Conference. So convention staff, I don't know what that is. Philadelphia, this is obviously a Philmont contingent neckerchief. Again, Pine Hill, see a lot of those. New York, not surprising. This is a camp staff one from another Jersey lodge or Jersey camp. Another area 2C. Too bad I'm not from Jersey. I'd have like a really solid collection from the 50s of all these events, but definitely try to reach out to some of my friends from up there and see if I can get these rehomed. Here's another 37 Jamboree. You had the blue one earlier, the red one here. One was for scouts when they were in camp, and one was for out of camp. And again, here's the 58 neckerchief. This is the official neckerchief that everybody got in the trading post. And so this is, my theory based on all the OA stuff I've seen is that he was at that event. And then let's see what this one is. Biloxi. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Biloxi, Mississippi, OA. And it's a silk screen on kind of a rayon thing with interesting edges. I'm going to have to seriously Google that. Oh, Teoc Lodge. Okay, I can just barely make it out. It says Teoc Lodge there. Okay, here's that. Okay, Leakout Lodge 5, the 5th annual dinner meeting, Monday, December 27th, 1954. Literally the program. Wow, that is cool. Somebody from New Jersey's got to get that in their collection. That is cool. Paper is not something everybody collects, but it's pretty cool. All right. Are you ready for the ringer? All right, without showing you just yet. So you know how scouts had brag vests, patch vests, whatever you want to call them. So this guy put together a patch vest, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, golly, let me pull this thing out and show you. Not only is it just absolutely, oops, sorry, Cass. Not only is it absolutely full, but there is just some cool stuff on here. Okay, see if I can pull it back for you and show it to you. So across the top, normally there's two ways to do these. One is to have things that you earned, and the other is to kind of like have things you earned, but also maybe things you traded for. And so, like, here's National Camp School. All those years on camp staff, I would have feel certainly he would have earned that 55 World in Canada. Then he was a part of Region. Well, it says here Region 2, yeah. Although we kept saying that OA neckerchief. And again, here's 54 NOAC, 53 National Jamboree with the 53 patch, 1950 Jamboree, Garden County Council, New Jersey. And then coming down here, we see some other OA patches. Like that's at Lodge 77, Lodge 77, Lodge 76, Burlington. Again, Lodge 77, that's him. He worked on Pine Tree Hill Scout Reservation all those years. There's some cool stuff there. And here's Lodge 107, Lodge 423. All these are from New Jersey. Keep going around. Here's some of those conference patches, Conference 2C and Lodge Lodge. And then you keep coming around. So let me show you the rest of it, because there's a few things on here that I know he didn't earn, but he probably thought were super cool patches, so he put them on there. So here's, for example, a Blue Heron Lodge. This, I think, during that time was really kind of a treasured patch. People thought was really pretty. I know their S1 people really, really favored. Here's a Cherokee one from Alabama, Denali Prairie Council. And then check this guy out. That one from NOAC was a pretty good one. That's from Richmond, Virginia. And then look at this guy. Like, well, how did this end up on there? The lodge flap, I think that's the first lodge flap from the Puerto Rico Lodge. And this guy was trading some patches. He really was getting around. Lodge 135, Lodge 12. I forget, I think that's another lodge in Jersey. Then Shingus over here. That's from Texas. So that's a California lodge. So, man, it's just a super cool vest for somebody who's an OA collector to get kind of a time capsule OA vest from the 1950s. Super, super cool. Love to see all that. Then there's some loose items here, including some neckerchief slides. So we'll kind of wrap things up by going through this. Philmont, Camden County Council. This looks to be, this is the legit NOAC patch from 1950. There is a reproduction of this that was done in the 70s, but I don't think this guy seems to have stayed involved in scouting that long where he would have got that. That's his World Jamboree contingent patch for the BSA. Seen that. I think there's one of these on the vest in Camden County, New Jersey, 57. Keep going in here. Lodge 77, that was his lodge. So here's a woven from there, which probably would have been around 59, 1960. Nice old F cut edge. And that's a better condition World Jamboree patch. These are probably from Pine Tree Hill. I could maybe Google those and find that out, but so many of the camp patches are from Pine Tree Hill. So this is a 52 staff patch. And this is kind of interesting. This is Lodge 77, obviously, but when I was kind of doing my research, I really didn't see this item, and I wasn't sure if people knew what it was. So if you watch this video and you're from that area in New Jersey, help me out and tell me what I've got here. It's a sort of flocked felt piece. It's cool. I just don't know what it is. Universal Explorer emblem, another Lodge 77, another Lodge 77. I'm not sure about that one. And then here's a 56. And even in this collection, way back then, here's this classic jacket patch. Here's another nice World American contingent patch. 1960 Jamboree. A couple of leather pieces here. Area 2C, August 1951. This is a Camp repatch. There's a few more ones in here we can pull out. Oh, I bet that patch we saw a minute ago, I bet it goes with that. It sort of looks like that. I'm not sure. Yeah, Pine Hill 1956, that patch probably goes with that. And here's a silver anniversary for Lodge 77. I thought this was cool too. I collect Explorer stuff, and so to see something from the 1950s with that paw, compass, anchor, and wings. 77 again. Here's a 52 NOAC. So again, you just see like every NOAC. I'm not saying that the guy went to every NOAC in the 50s because I have no way of knowing that. But he has all the patches from every NOAC in the 1950s. And so, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Here's a 54 again. We saw the neckerchief earlier. That actually goes to the back of one of those World Jamboree patches. And see, oh, and one other thing in here to show you, the guy was really kind of keen on this, is that this is a really cool Jamboree belt buckle from the 55 World Jamboree. And that's pretty cool, right? So if you went to that, it comes together like that. So I think that's a really cool piece. I told him, you can't see it off camera, maybe you've seen it in other videos, but I have a print of the poster from the 55 World Jamboree that sits framed in my office. This is a really cool, well-painted Indian head there. Little leather here from Camden County Council. So I don't think there's anything else. A life rank patch. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He had a couple of coin things. Oh yeah, here's Silver Beaver, which I don't think it has his name on it, but he did share the name with me. But the guy did earn the Silver Beaver, so we have that. I have my Silver Beaver plaque right on the wall right there. And then this one right here, I told the fella, and y'all, tell me in the comments if you know. I told him that I didn't think this was Boy Scouts. I said it could be a local, to his council or his district. They could have had their own sort of, leader of the year thing, Scoutmaster of the year thing. But this didn't look to be scouting to me, but maybe it is. It's in the same container here as a Silver Beaver, so certainly there's an argument it could have been. So, all right, that's it. I told you this was an interesting collection. Somebody from the 1950s who traded for a lot of OA patches and neckerchiefs and got some really cool stuff. I was very excited to get the call from this guy. We talked quite a bit. We texted about scouts and kids and everything else, and I was really happy to land this collection. Again, the funny story about his wife, I thought I'd just sprinkle that in there, but I'm going to have fun with this. Possibly, maybe at some point I could do a follow-up video to let you guys know if I was able to get the mildew out and kind of save some of those neckerchiefs. I really don't think that without them kind of being, clean, there's any value there. And that was one thing he and I talked about a little bit. There's plenty of stuff here that has value, but with those neckerchiefs, it's, I was willing to take a gamble. So hopefully it'll work out. But Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper, if you have a collection, doesn't have to be like this. This one's kind of pretty rare for me to come across something this interesting. But if you have a collection that's sitting in a box, maybe it's belonged to someone in your family and they passed it down, like what happened in this situation, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you about it. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There you can find all my contact information and more about what I'm doing in scouting. I'd love to hear the story. Thanks very much for watching.